again, you amazing Godot people. In this video, we're going to learn how to pause the game. Now, we need to pause the game because, well, if I fire it up, you can see why. At the moment, when we start the game, it's down here in the corner, and I might not want it down here in the corner. I might want it full screen. I might have other options. I might want to quit without having to press Alt F4. So, let's make that work. And to do that, I'm going to make a brand new scene. Use a custom node, and I'm going to make a canvas layer. So this is just going to be a layer on top of our 3D world. And within that, well, you know what, let's name it first. It's going to be called Pause Menu. And let's save that. That's going to be saved in a brand new folder, which I'm going to call GUI. There it goes. Great. Within that, I'm going to put a pop-up menu. So pop-up. So it's right up here in the corner. Let's give it a background so we can see what we're doing. So I'm going to give it a color rect. Color rect, there it is, using British spelling. And let's give that a different color. So I'm going to give it a nice, I'm feeling very cyany this week, very turquoise, and less alpha. So let's say 125 on the alpha. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Now that's way too small. So I'm going to go to rect and give it a minimum size of, let's say, 300 by 400. Good. So let's take the pop-up. I'm going to put that in the center, and color rect, and I'll put that in the center. There we go. And take this pop-up here, and I think we should anchor this. So let's anchor this to the full rectangle, and now that should keep the same size. Okay, as a child of the color rect, let's add a VBox container. And we'll make this full rectangle, and I'm going to anchor this as well. So it's going to anchor the full rect, so it'll always stay the same size. And what I want here is something that says pause menu, and then a couple of buttons. So let's make a label. In fact, you know what? Let's make a center container. And within that, I'm going to put a label. And I'm going to write pause menu. And you can see right away we have a small issue because we're using the default font. That's no good. Let's find a better font. Under fonts, you'll see we have Kenny Bold. So let's make a theme. I'm going to back up to the pop-up. Go to theme. We've done this a few times. Brand new theme. I'm going to click on that, and here's our basic stuff. I'm going to start with default font. So that's a new dynamic font. Click on dynamic font. Settings, I think my default size is going to be, let's say, 20. I can always change that. And under font, I'm just going to drag in Kenny Bold. That looks pretty good. Might be a bit too big. What do you say about 14? 16. We can change that. Okay, so that's what our font's going to look like for everything within this container. Now, this pause menu is quite near the top. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the VBox container. I'm going to change the alignment to center. So we're going to start there and push our way out. We can also give it a margin if we need to. But for now, let's put some buttons in. So I'm going to go back up to my VBox container, and I'm going to add a center container with a button in it. And let's write something in there. How about toggle full screen? Now, I'm not digging those colors. They're great for the default Godot menu, but they're not great for our game. So let's change that a bit. I'm going to go to edit theme, add class item. We've done this a few times as well. ... and button. That will change every type of button. And now under our theme, which is back up at the pop-up, I can go to button. And we can change our style. So let's say we need a new normal style. So I'm going to make a style box flat. Click on it, and I can change the color. Let's say, let's find a nice shade that feels like it fits that color theme. Yeah, I'm liking this. What is that? Navy? Indigo? Either way, I like it. But that's only going to be there when we toggle. When we hover over it or press it, it's going to look different. So we need to put some more themes in. I'm going to say yes, but what I might do is go into this color. I'm going to add this to my favorite color. So use the plus button. Now it's accessible. So I'm going to go to hover. I'm going to make a new starbox flat. And click on that. Go to the color. I'm going to select the color, and then I'm going to tweak it slightly. Let's make it a little bit lighter. So that's going to look like that. There's my hover color. I'm quite liking that. Let's close those two down. I need one more for press. So I'm going to do the exact same thing. Use starbox flat. Click on that. Use this saved color. And let's say when you press it, we're going to go darker. Let's see how that looks. Hover, press. Yeah, that's looking pretty shiny. Okay, so we have one center container with a button in it. I'm going to rename the button to full screen button. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this center container 2. I'm just going to copy it a few more times. Let's say 1, 2, 3. And I need to rename these buttons. And my bottom one is going to be called quit button. And I'm going to write the word quit. And I feel like some of these buttons are different sizes. I'll worry about that in a minute. And let's see. The one underneath is going to be for customizing. So I'm going to call this that's not the one underneath. That's the one underneath. There we go. It's going to be customize, which is coming later in this course. Does customize have a Z in it? I can't remember. Customize button. We don't have to wire that in yet. And I'm just going to write customize player. I don't actually have anything for this third button, so I'm just going to not wire this one in and instead just write button. I like button. Okay, I want to spread these out a little bit more. So I'm going to go to my VBox container and I'm going to go to custom constraints and change the separation. So let's just 16. That feels pretty good. Okay, so this is my rough and ready pop-up menu. Now, our pop-up menu or our pause menu is going to have a script. So let's give it a script, not an instance. Let's give it a script, a brand new script, pop-up menu GD. At which point we can start wiring these things in. Now, I don't need to be wiring in the label. That's silly. But what I do need to do is start putting these buttons in. So full screen button definitely wants to be wired in. So on button pressed, let's put you in there. Customize player will need wiring, but I'm not going to do that yet. Button doesn't need wiring. And quit button does. Let's put you in. Okay, so I'm going to save that, and I'm going to put it in the level before I forget. It's actually part of the level templates. Let's do that. I'm just going to instance this in, so it's going to be pause menu. And let's put it near the top. I like having my GUI elements near the top. Now, we're not going to see this, mostly because this is a pop-up, and pop-ups don't show by default. They're hidden by default. So we're going to have to wire that in. To do that, I'm going to handle the pause menu within the pause menu. It's already in the level template. It's right there. So when I go back to the main level, we have pause menu here. But this raises a problem. You see, when we pause, in fact, I'll show you how this works. In order to get this working, I'm going to need to map a key for pause. Let's go to project settings. I'm going to input map. I'm going to make an action called pause. Add it, and I'm just going to put a key binding in. So I'm going to say the escape key in my case. So escape is going to pause. And so in the pause menu, I can just go function input, which looks like that. And I can say if input dot is action just pressed pause. Pause is part of get tree. If I take a look under here, there's a bunch of things we can do. And it goes to scene tree. Come on, scene tree. And within it, we have access to the paused value, right? So we could just say getTree.paused. And what it's going to do is going to go to the top of the scene tree. So right up here, it's going to pause. And by default, everything beneath it, if you look at a node, inherits from its parent, right? So we're going to pause the game. It's going to go to the scene tree. It's going to go right up to the root and say pause here, and everything beneath it is going to pause as well, which means no physics and no process functions will be happening. So how do we unpause? Because we now can't access the pause menu. So what I need to do is make sure the pause menu itself doesn't pause. Do that, I need to go to the pause menu and just say process. So it's going to keep going even if the game is paused. This is really important. Otherwise, we're going to get stuck. Okay, so let's go in here. GetTree.paused. Okay, so if we are paused, we don't want to be. And if we're not paused, we do want to be. Now, we could write a semi-complicated if condition, but a much easier way is just to say, if the button is pressed, then the new paused value is whatever the current paused value isn't. So to do that, I'm just going to go getTree.paused equals not getTree.pause. We're just going to flip it, right? We're just going to toggle it. Speaking of, let's toggle a pause menu. So I'm going to make toggle pause menu as a new function. And you know what, I'm just going to copy that because that was hard to type. Okay, here I do want an if condition. So if get tree dot paused, then I want to show the pop-up menu, right? So let's go pop-up dot show. I also want to be able to use the mouse, otherwise we can't use the menu. So input dot set mouse mode, we did this recently, and for this one we need visible. And then our else condition is going to be the opposite, right? So we have pop-up dot hide and input dot set mouse mode. Come on, Jan, type better. Input mouse mode captured. There it goes. Okay, so this should just do the pause menu. Let's see if that works so far. Escape. Not bad, right? And if I hold the button down, it's just doing it for the first time. These buttons don't yet do anything. Let's fix that. Now, I'm going to have a problem with toggle full screen because I'm recording on OBS. And OBS will not allow me to change from recording windows, such as my Godot window and the Food Fight window, and full screen at the same time. So while this will work, it won't work in my recording. But what I can do is now access that window. So I'm quite happy with that. Customize player button we're not going to do anything with, and quit we're going to make work. So let's start by making quit work. This is the easiest. This is get tree. Oops, let's put this where the pass is. Get tree dot quit. Great. Full screen is a little bit trickier. For this, we need to use the OS class, the operating system class. And within that, I mean, we can take a look. We have window full screen. That's what we're going to be using. So window full screen equals, well, how do we know if we're in full screen mode? We can do the exact same trick we did with the pause menu. We're going to go is not the value of the window full screen. Okay, now I can't show you this working on my side. I mean, I can try. It'll go black. It works great for me. You probably can't see it, but if I press quit, we quit. Which means that my voice probably sounds a little bit different because this is Jan from the future. It turns out that in my attempt to show you what will happen if I go to full screen, I managed to crash the recording and not notice it because everything froze in that frame. So we're actually almost done. What I was going to show you was that when we pause like this, we have this lovely little pause system where we can still move the mouse. We can change the size of things. I can see food hanging dramatically in the air. We have access to buttons that don't yet do anything, except for this one that I'm not going to touch. And that feels like a really good place to end this video. So, excellent work, and I shall see you in the next one.